Hi everyone, and this is my final project. I decided to bring it back to the beginning of the class when we first did quantitative versus qualitative analysis. That topic of interest really interested me, mostly because this is what I deal with at work every day, obviously, with, our perception to the public, plus what is engaging to users, what's getting hits, what's not getting hits. So I just felt that this would be a great way to wrap up the class. So essentially, just to go over basic definitions, obviously quantitative and qualitative analysis are two different ways to measure social media. Um, and moving on to first quantitative analytics, this is just kind of like the numbers, likes, comments, engagements. Did the post go viral? Did it not go viral? Um, and essentially it's using these numbers to your advantage. And I'll give you one instance of this. We recently posted a YouTube video up of one of our members introducing their baby to the chamber, and it just went completely viral by our standards, which is over 100 views on YouTube, which is a pretty big deal. And then you kind of look at someone speaking on the House floor on a bill that doesn't really have any significance to the public, and it has all of 8 views. So that's an example of quantitative analytics. And for this presentation, I interviewed Kay Toll. She is the community manager at GoldieBlox, and she had something pretty interesting to say about quantitative analytics. She said it allows for informed decision making for social initiatives that can support a gut instinct about the emotional punch or virality of a given product. I don't make any long-term strategies about looking at the data. Um, so obviously, she used quantitative analytics to essentially plan her social media. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with GoldieBlox, but they recently won for the Super Bowl ad in January. Um, and that exploded. So they obviously had a plan in place, and they went from there looking at their numbers, which is remarkable. So why is this important? As I just said, um, this is basically like, hey, just like what I said with the YouTube videos, this is effective, this isn't, let's move on because this isn't working, or hey, this is working, this is getting views, let's keep doing this. And that's kind of what this diagram shows is, the funnel effect of, is it important, is it not important, is it bringing awareness, or is it just, promoting advocacy. Couple of different measuring tools for this. There's Sprout Social, which I'm not very familiar with, but a lot of people like. At work, I use Hootsuite, and I love it. I mean, they, create great reports. It's just phenomenal. And obviously, these are all numbers based. They don't show you what exactly, what your sentiment is or anything like that, what your clout score is. But moving on to qualitative analytics, this is basically like, in PR, what is your brand perception? And that's exactly what qualitative analytics is. What are we looking at? How does the public perceive you? Do they like you? Do they not like you? Is there a problem? Customer service? And that's exactly what it is. So in the industry, we've read a lot this semester with Avanish Kanish, and he says, but no matter what tool you use, the best that all this data will help you understand is what happened. It cannot, no matter how much you torture the data, tell you why something happened. This is the reason why qualitative data is so hyper important. It is the difference between 99% of the website analysts that happens that yields very little insights and the 1% that provides a window to the mind of the customer. So again, this is why this is important, because it brings together how you are perceived in the public. So measuring tools for this, Topsy is great. It gives you a sentiment score. I use it all the time at work. It's been a real help. And it even shows you what people are saying. And again, Social Mention I'm not very familiar with, but it does the same as Topsy. So basically, versus, one versus the other. Obviously, we see qualitative is likes. It's, how you're perceived, and quantitative is, numbers, purely numbers. So key difference is it's just qualitative is your, how you are perceived again, and then quantitative is, you know, the numbers. But what is most important is that you try to put these together. So in other words, which one is best? And really that all depends on what type of business you are. Qualitative is better for huge brands like Coca-Cola. Quantitative might be better for, smaller businesses. And obviously we already went over how they work together, is that, you kind of branch off of one another. Quantitative, the numbers, but what is that telling you about the brand? And how to make it work for you is basically determining, hey, which one of these is going to be better for me to use in my social media plan. We use a combination of both, but obviously, smaller businesses might want to just go off of quantitative. And looking ahead to the future, I believe that qualitative is going to become more and more popular as the years go on because of brand perception. Now this is a new way for PR to kind of engage in social media. So in conclusion, I don't really have a preference, but obviously the key differences are that quantitative measures purely numbers, likes, comments, and reach, whereas qualitative measures how your brand is perceived, customer service rankings, and attitudes towards your brand.